Welcome back to Canberra. The Broncos have won the first two premierships in the NRLW. Ali Brigginshaw has been leading the way, of course, in 2018 and 2019. They were in an early hole here, 8-0, but what a response, Tasha Gale.
That's the Broncos for you. You can never relax, especially when they're led out by Ali Brigginshaw. She makes those decisions. She doesn't just count in defence. She'll exploit the short side. She'll watch the players' body language. And as soon as they're switched off, it's all over.
And we've marvelled at the balance of Tamika Upton with those 3 tries, Blocker.
Yeah, she's been unbelievable. And, you know, the best thing about it after I've seen the replays of those tries is she never gets out of stride. When she sidesteps or swerves, the pace of her running never stops. So 3 tries in the first half, a wonderful effort. The Broncos did it all pretty tough in that first 20 minutes. They've made 6 line breaks to only 2 from the Warriors. So they're starting to look a little bit tired around that middle of the Warriors.
So the Raiders and the Sharks are in the house, keen observers of this game, and getting ready for their crunch elimination final a little later on at this venue. Part of a triple header at GIO Stadium today and a quadruple header on Fox League. Melbourne Storm against Parramatta to close it all out a little later tonight. Right now, all eyes on Tamika Upton. How many can she score? The record in the history of the NRLW is 4 tries from a certain Talina Simon for the Roosters against the Dragons in 2018.
They roll down that left wing, if I recall.
Should see her back at some stage during the NRLW, but the Roosters team will be a tough one to crack after what they did earlier, upsetting the Dragons.
They sure will, and she's come back after giving birth to a baby boy.
There's a few stories like that around in the NRLW. Trapped well enough in the end by Aiken, and the Broncos start with the ball through Millie Boyle.
Don't go early. Wait.
30-minute halves here in the NRLW. There'll be 35-minute halves when the Origin comes around, and there'll be plenty of players involved from these 4 teams, of course, in that competition. A one-off game when it comes around. Strong running by Robinson again, who carved them open at a crucial stage in that first half. Oh, she has been so hard to stop right throughout the game, Amber Hall. A late offload as the referee let it roll, and now Brigginshaw for Upton up the middle. Already scored 3, keeps it alive. Great backing up by Gould. Quick shift back to Amber Hall, ready to go again in the same play. 2 hit-ups on the same play from Amber Hall, if you don't mind.
She's a fabulous player, Amber Hall. She actually dropped 22 kilos. She was on the lounge watching the State of Origin game. She thought, that's for me. Dropped 22 kilos, and look at her.
Oh, lovely pass. Robinson is over, and the Broncos are carving up the Warriors now.
They're sharing the love around, the Broncos. That game that was up the middle, a lot of the tries are coming off their backs.
Yeah, just couldn't retreat quick enough too. Just see they're meeting up the yardage there, and Aiken goes right to the line. That's where the pass come at the end. She didn't just catch and pass. She saw they were on the retreat. She just took on a player, draws her in, gets it on the outside. Robinson's in.
And by trade, she drives a truck to the Australian Defence Force up in Townsville. She could have squeezed the truck through that gap in the end, couldn't she?
I think she could have. And it all came back from the great service that Aiken received that ball in front. So you can see where her eyes are. She's looking where the gaps are before she gives that last ball.
Well, they knew straight away where the overlap was too. It's good play. Have you seen the big improvement since it started only a few years ago?
I sure have, especially the speed of the play the ball, and the players they're looking for cues from the other players, whereas before they were sticking to the set plays. You know, no matter what happens, it's got to go 2 to the left and 1 more inside. No, not these days.
They're playing what they see.
They are playing exactly what they see.
Robinson, as you saw, 4 tries in NRLW, 3 of them have come against the Warriors. She scored a double in the 32-10 win in 2018. And the extras are added stylishly by Meg Ward. And suddenly that margin blows out to 14 points. It's 22 unanswered from the Broncos. Smooth mover, Julia Robinson, isn't she?
She
like
made,
Upton.
as you mentioned, she made a couple of long-range breaks there in the first half. And here's what we're talking about, how they sum the situation up so quickly. Take the ball right to the line. They were short of numbers that time, the Warriors, on the right-hand side. And they picked it up straight away.
And that's the side of defence where Shani Stowers dropped out late. She was due to line up at right centre, so a late reshuffle on that side with Stowers ruled out with the hamstring. So understandable that a little out of sync defensively out there.
Wait. Hold.
Brisbane dominating this game as many expected coming into it. It took a little while to get going. The discipline was off early, but now they are rolling through Brigginshaw.
Well, they're not coming off their line, are they, the Warriors? They look very, very tired. Fatigue is starting to set in. They haven't had much of the ball here in the second half so far.
Intercept taken by Elliot Green with great anticipation and keen to get going the other way in a hurry. A little circuit breaker down by Elliot Green, and Politi off the back of it into Broncos territory. Need to start turning it around quickly, the Warriors. Matty Bartlett finished off strongly over the top by Boyle. Gould involved in the tackle as well. Gray, Hardigan sold the dummy well, didn't they? The decoy runner was smashed there. As Gray held on.
I bought that one myself.
Couple more plays up their sleeve. Adventurous pass to Elliot Green, and they ushered her back inside. Numbered up successfully that time against Elliot, the Broncos. Ball shifts it for Dibb to hang it up. And underneath it, and good safe take in the end by the Broncos.
Up for one, now hold. Don't go early, wait! Go one.
Now the mistake. Should be play on. They think they're going to score a try, but it's coming back, says Henry Perinara.
It touched you, and then it's in front of you. So it's a double knock on. That's the next one, okay? First knock on off Brisbane, but it's touched Kira, and then you've picked it up in an offside position, so we can't play on. When do you want the scrum?
Well, one good thing out of that, they'll get the football back. Play the first knock on. No advantage there to the Warriors.
The first time the Broncos have really got to put some, this half anyway, back-to-back tackles together. So let's just see how strong they are defending their line.
Do you want to see a play straight off the back of the scrum now? Is that the best chance to strike, perhaps?
Yeah, they've got a centre field strike. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't keep trying Elliot Green's wing.
They've got more numbers on the right-hand side, but they utilise the two on the left. What can Green do one-on-one? Here's the backup support, and the Broncos had enough numbers there in the end. Paul, the dummy half. Footwork being put on by economists.
Ellie, you've got to get up now, let go. Oh, don't hold it.
And the number 16 jumper.
Go, two.
Now those numbers out on the right-hand side look to do some work. Bartlett from Brown.
Just looking at how many tackles Winkenshaw's involved in, the captain. She's always working the halfback.
Now Dibb. Could have thrown it on the outside, forces the pass late and was knocked on, I think, by Tegan Hardigan. Did it come off the shoulder? Otherwise, Hilda Peters will be denied the try. They'll go upstairs and check it all out.
They're not looking all that confident. They're congratulating each other, but there's...
Can we just confirm there's a knock on that lead on, please, mate?
What part of the body does it touch on Tegan Hardigan here as the pass was pushed by Dibb? Any touch off the arms will deny the try, and there it is. Goes forward off Hardigan. Or does it? Clearly off the right forearm.
Consider on the bicep, hasn't it? You reckon?
Stephen Clark is the video ref back in the bunker. Warriors fans were hoping that tape might keep on rolling there, but they keep on winding it back.
Tegan Lang from the Warriors knocks the ball forward. We have a decision.
She was known as Tegan Lang before she got married to a Hardigan. She is the daughter of Asiri Lang, the former West Magpies player, and also had a stint with the Melbourne Storm in the 90s. Outside back. And no try for Hilda Peters, who has the honour
Come here, girls.
forevermore of being the first ever try scorer in this competition.
She does. She's in the history books.
Sorry. 1, 2, 3. You need one more. 1, 2, 3. Bind. All the way in, thanks. All the way in.
So didn't convert that wonderful field position into points, the Warriors.
They did go to Elliot Green's wing again.
Amber Hall running right over Hardigan.
Okay, Georgia, let go.
Not the first player
Don't hold her. You're
to fall
holding
victim.
her. No, don't hold her.
A few locks starting to come into the defence now too, Tasha.
Yeah, they are.
Learn how to bring them down to the ground properly.
Well done.
Yeah, there's been a bit of that.
Mistake
Working on it.
from Brander.
Georgia.
You go to any training session, there's a lot of work on defence and two in the tackle and really working on all the techniques.
We'll call them levers instead of locks, eh?
But-
Yeah.
and what are you referring to for the viewer at home watching?
Well, just when the tackles are being made, how they lock their arms and take them down to the ground and hang on when they're down.
You had me there, Block, because I think of them as levers.
Levers,
And when you said
lock.
lock, I'm thinking Georgia Hale, she's playing lock. Oh, no.
I'm thinking jiu-jitsu.
And Brigginshaw almost playing as a lock today at times. That was what we anticipated. And Aiken more as the 7, even though she's got 13 on her back. Taryn Aiken getting involved in this tackle.
Apparently it's all about giving Ellie Brigginshaw come in when she wants to come in. And that she will.
Yeah, just let her sit back and just read the game.
It's what she does best.
So Paul, a little scamper out of dummy half. Haven't seen that too often from the number 9 for the Warriors. Dibb has to deputise. Smith now throwing dummies, and it nearly opened right up for her. Already a try scorer today.
They're not done yet, the Warriors.
Hale shifts it on. Tasman Gray shows it. Links up with Hardigan. What a tackle. Robinson got to her in a hurry. And the penalty is given up as well.
Offside.
That's how close Smith came on the earlier play. But once Robinson saw the opportunity here, she didn't muck around. Tasman Gray in front of the teammate, then kicked the ball away and gave up the penalty.
This is not only good at making long-range breaks. That one-on-one defence there made a decision early to go and shut the play down from Robinson. Got a lot of good players, haven't they, the Broncos?
And they've got the experience, Block. Like I said earlier, 11 of those players played in the grand final. They know what it takes to win.
They've got Talisha Harden back. It was a Bronco in 2018, went to the Roosters last year. Fans of the Canberra Raiders have come in. The Green Machine will be in action later on Fox League in the elimination final against the Sharks. They've got another Green Machine to cheer on right now. Elliot Green out there on the wing for the Warriors in this game.
I think it's just been Amber Hall and also Millie Boyle. It's just been too strong in the middle for the Warriors. Every time they get the ball, they look like they're going to get offload, or they stand in the tackle, they get a quick play the ball away.
And with limited opportunities, Jamie Frassard has looked hard to handle at right centre. Brigginshaw floats one up again, and they let it bounce on the follow-up. And wrapped up in the end to create the handover. So the Warriors got away with letting one bounce.
Look, you talk about the forwards. The squad from last year, they've lost Rona Peters, Heather Ballinger, Steph Hancock, Amber Pilley, and yet they're still coming up with quality forwards.
And that was the chat that Hancock had with the coach. How much game time am I going to get? Am I going to be a starter? Well, no, you're probably not. So she went to the Dragons where they needed an imposing front rower and got the nod there. And she was pretty impressive in a losing side earlier on, the veteran for St George Illawarra.
Oh, don't start me on that kick. That kick was sensational.
Back to her days as a halfback.
That's right.
Way back when.
That's when she started out. Thanks to Joey Barrett for that stat.
Tasman Gray keeps on working hard down that right channel. Now Dibb trying to wait the kick.
Lay on.
Awkward for Upton. Pulled the hands away cleverly. Referee well positioned to adjudicate on that one.
And she breaks in the stride pretty quickly too.
She goes from 0 to 100.
She's the modern day Rockhampton Rocket.
Hold together now, let go.
Certain Rod Laver had that nickname a long time ago, but Tamika Upton might steal it the way she's playing in this game.
She'll have whatever she wants after this game, I'm sure.
Brianna, you got to get up.
Pretty safe stuff on this set so far from Brisbane. They might get expansive now as Brigginshaw gets her hands on it. Get out of the way to the front rower. Gets it to Fassad.
She's got something in mind here, Ali.
I've seen McGregor on kicking duty this time, and it's tumbling around all over the place. How's the bounce? Left behind by Brown. Brigginshaw arriving, and safety first in the end to give up the line dropout.
Thinking that's exactly what she had in mind. She's got tells a teammate to kick. She's up there on the chase. She's straight on it.
Leading the chase, the skipper, and Shania Power, that is, in the number 14 jumper after that late reshuffle for the Warriors, getting
10 seconds.
some minutes here in the second half. Kicked it dead in the end.
Just those little clutch plays, isn't it? You know, I saw Brigginshaw, the captain, and see her mind ticking over. Reads the play great.
Hold here, wait. Hold.
Ward eventually able to play it. Here's Lenarduzzi. What about the ball playing? Deft little flick up. Confident that her teammate could hold on. And no problem there for Shannon Marto. Now Brigginshaw. Left-hand side for Aiken. Stepping inside. Caught high. Still going Aiken. Dragged back. Just in the nick of time by Paul. Lenarduzzi will be hard to stop here. The front rower crashes over. A try in the grand final and now a try in round 1, 2020.
We all know that Chelsea loves to score under the post. I mean, who doesn't? But who does it better than Chelsea Lenarduzzi? Lead up play here. Look at her. She wants it. She's like, here I go. Give it to me. I'm here.
Yeah, she showed great strength too and timing just to spin out of that tackle and slam the football down. You want the ball that close to the line, the big front rowers. It's great to see her get over the stripe here. They've been a little bit tired getting off their line, haven't they? The Warriors, especially on their right-hand side. And this time it's through the middle.
And she's a 3-time national shot put champion, Chelsea Lenarduzzi. Almost like she was spinning through the circle there to score that try.
She's got good balance. That's the main thing, isn't it? I suppose in the shot put too. Takes me back to the days of the buttock Siren, and he still holds all the javelin and what's that other one? The frisbee one?
Discus.
He still holds all the schoolboy records, the big fella. He'll be watching this too. Hello, big man.
Big Ciro. Great man.
G'day, Ciro.
Another relatively straightforward look for Meg Ward. And steers it through, and suddenly it's a 20-point margin in favour of the Brisbane Broncos. Looking for that three-peat in 2020. And there's a look inside the dressing rooms of the Canberra Raiders and the Cronulla Sharks. It's all coming up next on Fox League. Don't have to change the channel. I hope you're enjoying today's quadruple header. Back-to-back NRLW games and then back-to-back finals in the NRL. And Canberra, haven't they responded brilliantly after that injury blow? Josh Hodgson goes down and everyone thought, well, that's Canberra's chances gone, but they're very much alive.
Starling's been great at it. You can't fill in the loss, but he's done his best. He's signed a new 2-year contract too, Starling.
Off the back of that performance last week, unbelievable. Melbourne Storm against Parramatta, game 2 in the men's finals later on. Crossfield go the Broncos once more. Robinson picked off that time by Elliot Green. Oh, mistake from Fassad, who was running right behind Brigginshaw and maybe got in each other's way that time.
I'm not sure if Brigginshaw was supposed to be drawing the players there or was supposed to be getting the ball. I'm not sure.
I think it looks like she wanted the ball there. Change of mind there from the half.
Well, it's a change of play that they've brought in. Maybe it's taking a little bit of time to get used to Ali's playing, more of a number 13 role.
Oh, mistake at the back of the scrum. No one's heard the whistle initially, so Henry Perinara blows it again. And Canyon Paul, who was locking that scrum, had a little bobble, and the referee didn't miss it.
Over here again. Let's go.
And Ali's having something to say to her troops just now.
They've had hardly any ball, have they, in the second half, the Warriors? And the Broncos have been good enough to capitalise too. They've played some good style of footy.
Double pump.
Almost a hospital pass for Robinson, who had nowhere to go.
Just untangle. Wait.
So only 2 completed sets from the Warriors since half-time. Elliot Green, starved of possession, had to do a fair share of defensive work here. As the Broncos have opened up a margin. If you tuned in late, it was 8-0 to the Warriors as they dominated the opening exchanges.
And that's been the difference, isn't it? As soon as fatigue set in, they started to make the mistakes. They started off, I think it was 6 from 6, the Warriors, to start the game. That's been their downfall.
Lena Ducey again. That combination between her and Marto there for all to see. Brown fires it left for Brigginshaw. Pressure on the kick. Oh, the oncoming traffic certainly in the eye line. And the mistake comes. Broncos get a fresh set.
Yeah, she had a little look to see what was coming her way.
Lena Ducey.
This scoreline could get ugly here in the last 13 minutes.
And Lena Ducey wants to do it again.
Keep coming, Brenna.
Now Igamato is clapping her hands. Give it to me. And tosses it out to Brigginshaw. Went backwards off her hands. Upton's been quiet in the second half. And a little clunky on that occasion, the Broncos. First time we've said that all game. Now McGregor. Cut out ball. What a hit. Elliot Green in company with Penatani on the smaller Fassad. Bit going on after that tackle too. Leonard Ducey. Little flick out the back. Showing all her skills. The front rower, Chelsea, Leonard Ducey.
Hold here. Wait.
Now Brigginshaw. Stripped out of there and knocked on in the end by Brigginshaw. A clever little hand in there from Tamarua.
Release now. Hold it. Hold. Left edge. Go 1. 0.
We're watching the ball skills of Leonard Ducey, and the halves getting put to shame at the moment.
Release.
Just don't know if Ali's feeling quite comfortable in this role yet, whether she needs to play a bit more to get used to that role, as you said, coming in where you want, playing more as the number 13.
She was worried coming into this game that Brad Donald, who knows her as well as anyone, coaching the opposition, may be able to find some kryptonite to Ali Brigginshaw's game.
Yeah, if anybody could, I suppose it would be Brad. So she's changed up again.
When you're ready.
4 penalties apiece in this game as Tasman Gray takes the Warriors into opposition territory. And another penalty coming their way.
Well, they've just been starved of field position, haven't they? This might get them down here now. Especially in this second half, the Warriors have had hardly any ball in that attacking zone.
And for and against has cost them grand final appearances in the past. Right now they're minus 20. So if they can get some points back late, it could be handy in the final wash-up. Of course, 2 more games to play in a round-robin format. And then the grand final, the 2 best teams on the ladder in this 4-team competition. So you've still got to play out each and every game and try and score as many points as you can and concede as few. And they've got 3 penalties in a row here.
Exactly right, Brenton. That's what it came down to last year. It was the for and against as to who gets to go into the grand final. So you just cannot afford to not keep going and try to get points on the board.
And the Broncos just trying to slow it down a little bit now too. Not allowing the Warriors to get on a roll. They've given away 3 penalties here.
That's okay.
Henry Perinara may have the sin bin at the back of his mind at the moment. Great hands. There's a big gap opening up, and they're over the Warriors. And each and every try could be handy. You never know in the final wash-up. Vania Politi matches Elliot Green with a try on debut in NRLW.
Yeah, I was looking to see when Vania Politi was going to inject herself a bit more. She's been looking dangerous. Shrugged off that player. Straight over the line again. She's mighty fast, that one.
I'd be a little bit worried if I was the Broncos defence. I know they're in front quite comfortably, but that one-on-one miss there
And
will leave you over.
Too much pace, sorry, for the second tackler slot. She's beaten up for pace.
Both known for their speed with that Rugby Sevens background. Gold medalists 4 years ago now. And with the Olympics postponed in 2020, suddenly they look for other avenues. That Sevens circuit, which is normally going around the world all year round, that was called off due to COVID as well. So they jumped at the chance to be part of this competition, and both were going to be Broncos. Elliot Green and Vania Politi were going to be in Brisbane colours in this game, but then they looked at the COVID restrictions. You had to go to Brisbane. These Brisbane Broncos players fly in, fly out for each and every one of these games, can only go to home in Brisbane or the training ground, and that's it.
Yeah, and they made the decision, no, that's too much for me. And Brad Donald said, well, come on over here.
And the other teams are on notice now. The Dragons and the Roosters over the next fortnight. They've got to contain that left side attack of the Warriors.
And all over the field attack of the Broncos.
Hope you're enjoying the insights of the legendary rugby league figure Tasha Gale in the commentary box for NRLW on Fox League alongside Steve Blocker-Roach. And 28-14, Brisbane on top. I think Tamika Upton might be just about ready to explode again next time the Broncos get the ball.
Yeah, it's been a couple of minutes since she's been over the line.
It's that kickoff routine, trying to tumble it and bounce it over the opposition and get the ball back. But Brianna Clark was ready and waiting.
I'm pretty sure what they don't want is the kick return from Elliot Green and Vania Politi.
Smith goes right up the middle. Started the scoring today. And Simone Smith stretching out cramp after that run. The Warriors putting up the biggest score ever against the Broncos, even though they're losing the game. The Brisbane Broncos never conceded 14 points or more in an NRLW game, and there's the prospect of more here. Paul goes left again, dropped on the boot by Smith, and they should get a repeat set here as the chase is good.
That's great play there by Smith with the grubber kick in and behind. And the opposition play at the footy that time in Meg Ward. She had to grab at this football. Perfectly weighted kick. Warriors have had the better of the last few minutes.
The Warriors realise it was them that missed out on the points for and against to put them into the grand final. So full credit to them. They are working strong, and there's plenty of footy left in them.
The Roosters made the inaugural grand final, didn't they, with a 1-2 record that year. It was 4 against in that year as well. So both years it's come down to 4 and against to get into that grand final. And they're making inroads late here. Strong return from Salvao, who started the game so strongly. The Wallaroo. Here's Georgia Hale. Hasn't had one of her signature moments yet. Steals a few bonus meters there. Tasman Gray out the back. Karina Brown steps through one tackle nearly. Aiken had some backup. And they shift it quickly to left. Little bobble. Economist did well to hold on. Going back to the right. Dib. Cut out ball and right through. They score back-to-back tries here And Shania Power, the late inclusion in the number 14 jumper, strolls over for a try-on debut.
Clarkie, tackle 5.
Last 2 tries for the Warriors.
Just make sure there's no knock-on at
Just
dummy
look
half and it
at
comes off their
how
foot.
Kira Dibb holds up this pass, gives it to her with perfect timing as she comes in on the right-hand side. Just play the ball.
Checking for a knock-on here first, so they'll roll this back a few times. Or do you give that the all clear? Probably not.
No, I don't.
I think that's a little bobble there.
And the same culprit from earlier on at the back of the scrum.
It was.
Canyon Paul.
Part of the Fab Five to come over.
She let go of it with the right hand as well. If she'd maybe gripped it and held on that right hand, but the little release is going to cost her here, I think. Steve Clark checking every possible angle.
Oh.
That hand coming off is going to cost her.
That's a knock on.
Steve Clark is taking a long time to adjudicate on this one. It looks pretty obvious.
You can see daylight between both hands and the ball. One
Ball is touched by the right hand of the Warrior, then it comes off just before the left hand touches the ball. So we've got a knock on at dummy half by the Warriors. We have a decision.
That's unfortunate for the Warriors. And the crowd aren't liking it either.
I went to training this week and I saw Nita Maynard with her small hands, the number 9. Canyon Paul, very small hands. And there's been some talk from players around the NRLW and figures around NRLW. Maybe we need a smaller ball in this competition. I think it would help out the number 9s. What say you, Tasha Gale?
With the small hands, yeah, but I'm a traditionalist. I want to keep the ball the same size, standard size. I know there'd be better flick passes and whatnot, but Miss Stalwart.
Canyon Paul might be in my corner after a couple of knock-ons here in the second half, though.
She may well have your vote.
Broncos have 90 metres to go. Amber Hall getting rid of defenders. First time Politi and Elliot Green have been put on their back like that in this game. And they scamper down that side, and Ivania Politi comes back for more and makes her presence felt on that tackle. Good defence at this stage of the ball game. 55 minutes in. Intensity still high. Now Brigginshaw.
Let go, Taylor.
Still no Upton to break free as she did 3 times in that first half.
Forwards are still tackling and running strong. Less than 5 minutes to go.
Aiken in behind the winger, bouncing ball again. The Warriors might have to tidy up that side of their game. Hilda Peters just stays in.
Yeah, you're right, Brenton. That's the first thing that the back three will be practicing this week, all week at training. Take the ball on the full, attack the football. They've let it bounce at least half a dozen times in this game.
There've been some ugly bounces for them, too.
And that's the drama, isn't it? You set yourself up for that potential.
Okay, Lisa, one step. Thank you.
It's been absorbing action on the opening day of the 2020 season, a season that many feared may not come about, but it's been great to see all these players give this kind of effort on the opening day. And here's Racine McGregor coming off second best late in the ball game. She popped one in the throat here, running into an elbow perhaps.
She's copped that elbow. What in the sternum.
The bumper bar from Brianna Clark.
I think she'll be right. Just takes a minute just for that pain to go, you know. A couple of swallows, work out your airways not obstructed.
Stop you from doing this.
That's it, Block.
A starter in the halves alongside Brigginshaw, Racine McGregor. She went through the quarantine period, arrived from New Zealand and came out of the hotel. 2 a.m. Tuesday morning was the cut-off. So Kelvin Wright was there to pick up both Racine McGregor and Jamie Frassard and get them into the normal kind of accommodation and get ready for this season. So it's some effort from them and commitment as well to go through that process.
Yeah, it is. And I think they enjoyed the opportunity, obviously, to play, but even all the security and things that they had to go through.
They gave them some fitness equipment, wheeled that into the hotel rooms to keep them fit during this period. And don't forget all the action in the NRL finals coming up. The Raiders against the Sharks. Cronulla with very few victims so far as top 8 opposition is concerned all year. None, in fact, Blocker. So they're very much the underdogs going into this one.
Yeah, they've really struggled in that area. The other thing that they've struggled in is defence. No problem scoring points. That hasn't been their problem. The Raiders red-hot favourites in this one, but we've seen favourites get beat before, but I'm going to put a little bit of my hard-earned on. I think the Raiders might win this one.
There's your man. Hodgson's back up. Just a jumper off. Young Starling getting ready inside the dressing rooms here at GIO Stadium. That's up next on Fox League.
I'm with you, Block. I'd love the Sharkies to come through with a win, but I think that the Raiders are going to be too strong.
The biggest positive is that man in the graphic and that man centre of screen, if you like, Wade Graham. Anytime he's in your starting lineup, you're still a chance.
Yeah, I think they've moved him back to the back row a lock. He played 5/8 last week in that game against the Raiders, so back-to-back games against these guys. He's at his best when he runs the ball for mine, Wade Graham. Rather than worry about everything else and what everyone else is doing, when he runs, that's his big strength.
Faced off last week up in Sydney. Both teams were under strength, particularly the Raiders, but Canberra got the job done in that one. Oh, this is such a shame for Racine McGregor. We thought it looked relatively innocuous, but maybe the damage was done down low as they get the brace out. And she's a key player for the way Brisbane operate, as we've seen in years gone by and in this game as well.
Yeah, the relationship she's got with Ali Brigginshaw, they work really well together. It's quite concerning. But anything to do with the neck, you just can't afford to take the risk. You've got to get that brace on. Let's hope everything turns out okay for Racine McGregor and the Broncos.
Yeah, it looks alarming. The family watching on back home. But every precaution is taken in situations like this. So the neck brace goes on. They take every care with getting her on the Medicab, and she'll get the required treatment afterwards. And hopefully no significant damage done. There's Jordan Rapiner, the brother of Tasman Gray, who's been playing in this game for the Warriors. Ready to play in the centres for the Raiders a little later on against these Sharks. Chad Townsend, who missed last week, back in the lineup. And the Green Machine ready to do the Viking clap and get their team ready for finals footy. Seen that Viking clap live yet, Tasha?
I have, actually.
How good is it?
Oh, just love it.
That's why they get there early, the Canberra fans. Watch some NRLW action and make sure you don't miss the Viking clap.
I won't. I mean, I will. I'll watch it and I won't miss it. Have they got the horn?
Yep. Horn sounds and the clap follows.
There's Ricky Stewart looking, well, quite happy for Ricky Stewart, I think.
He would have been around a few final series, wouldn't he, Rick?
Just
as a player and a coach.
Looks unfazed by it. Have his game face on a little later on, of course. And the Sharks pull off the upset. All coming your way on Fox League. 2 more NRL finals tonight. Melbourne Storm against Parramatta afterwards. Racine McGregor helped on to the Medicab.
Should be clapped off the field here, I think.
Beautiful setting at GIO Stadium. Lights will be taking over in time for the NRL kickoff. And we wish Racine McGregor well. Hopefully we see her again in this month-long NRLW competition. And this is more dramatic, hopefully, than, or less dramatic than it appears.
Yeah, like you said, Brenton, every precaution possible when it involves anywhere around the neck.
Another step. Hey. Tackle 4.
So 2 more plays on this set for the Warriors. Strong run again from Kayla Salvao. Dib on kicking duty throughout the game. The chase is on. Straight onto the chest of Tamika Upton. She wasn't going to let it bounce.
Release now.
Still looking a little bit clunky there.
They'll be better for the run, don't worry.
Prasad has been strong with limited opportunities. Right up the middle goes Brander. Is there an exclamation mark from the Broncos here? Brigginshaw left side attack. Aiken keeps it moving for Upton, weaving her way through again. And finished off in the end. Desperation stuff by that right side defence for the Warriors that's looked vulnerable. Kick from Aiken, pretty handy. Bouncing ball for Karina Brown, who used the upright to her advantage, but there was still the follow-up. And an awkward fall for Karina Brown in the end. Legs trapped underneath her and thrust back. That's a test for the quads and a little bit more, perhaps.
Geez, that's an effort play here from the Broncos too with that chase. Just gets buckled over.
She did use that post well, because Ali Brigginshaw had her in sight. That post just took her off.
Talk about Upton, only 180 metres tonight back end, as well as 3 tries in the first half, so hasn't been as dynamic in the second half, but what an effort.
Talked about for and against earlier. The Warriors won't want to drop off here. The Broncos hungry for more points. Millie Boyle sets them up.
Wait, keep coming.
Dad David scored a hat-trick at this venue 2 days before Millie was born, 1998. Racked up 50 points against the Cowboys that day, and then Millie came into the world a couple of days later. And David retired from NRL that year. Back on the angle. Robinson caught high, but she stumbled into the tackle. Just a hanging arm from Hale, and the mistake at the end of it all. And the Warriors celebrate a little win there.
Over a loss, you can challenge if you want.
That's got to be a penalty, really.
Well, Henry Perinara said, you've got a captain's challenge up your sleeve. And he tipped them into it, and they said, righto. Let's have a crack with 80 seconds to go. You saw a penalty block?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they didn't let her get up to play the footy. It's an age-long tackle, just trying to lay around to play the ball and hang on. A little bit of a...
and was there still 2 players in that tackle?
Still a little bit of a help there.
It's both of her hands. There's no hands from Hale, so I think this will be unsuccessful.
Julia Robinson loses the ball in the tackle. The challenge by the Broncos is unsuccessful.
Where do you want to stop, Warriors?
I've never heard the referee say that you can have a challenge here.
Where was he for the St George game?
When they failed to challenge, Tasha Gale was in the commentary box saying, challenge it. Like a coach at the Australian Open tennis.
Wind down, all the way in. Okay, ball in. Out!
Here's the kick. The chase for Elliot Green, but Upton got a head start on them. But that finds touch. That's a 20-50, so they get the scrum feed here, the Warriors. There's still time for more points.
They're not going for that, or are they going for the chase?
It was almost like they called a shot to nothing in snooker, or the best of both worlds. A double chance, if you like. 20-50 or Elliot Green races 90.
In snooker, it's a 6-pocket rocket.
They take the tap 20 metres in here. And they get pretty much a full set here.
Lisa, one step.
So the first 20-50 comes in the final minute or so of game 2. It's a 40-30 and a 20-50. Kick the ball out from those areas into touch, and you get the ball back.
Where you are?
Are they going to go left here?
Let's go.
They go right. Dibbs made some things happen out here. And they can get one more play back to that left-hand side where the strike really is.
Wait.
Fire Hale. On to Smith. Big cutout ball out in front of Politi. Keeps it alive for Elliot Green. And good defence by the Broncos. Just stays in the field of play as the siren sounds. Another absorbing contest here at GIO Stadium. The Broncos, well, they fancy a three-peat in 2020. And after falling 8-0 behind early on, when Elliot Green scored a try, they hit back emphatically and win it. 28 points to 14. Stay with us on Fox League. All the NRL finals action coming up right after this. The Raiders against the Sharks, then the Storm against Parramatta.